Hey everyone, we are back here at Backstage, and as usual, I am super stoked for you to hear all of the incredible guests I'm going to be bringing to you. We're going to be talking about all kinds of different topics. We're going to be digging into all sorts of things, but first and foremost, back by very popular demand for the first episode of this season is my husband, Dustin Bates. So join us as we talk, as we argue, as we bicker, and as we laugh. And you'll get a little bonus at the end as we bring in his assistant / work mom / bestie / family member by proxy. Her name is Bianca Barja. We call her Binky Boo. And I brought her in so that her and I could roast Dustin a little bit. So enjoy this backstage look with my husband and Binky Boo. Well, welcome back, babe.
Thank you. Here we are.
Round two. You were the favorite.
Really? Mm-hmm. Out of all season one?
Yep, you were the fave. So I thought I'd bring you back. Give you another shot. Do yourself, because I know.
feel pretty good that I got a call back, not going to lie, from the prestigious podcast.
Well, I know you're always just trying to outdo yourself.
Yes.
And so
my greatest competitor is
you. Is the old or your
myself.
past self. Yep, right. That's exactly
That's right.
So I think you're going to do, I have a really good feeling about you today, actually.
Oh.
I slept good.
You did. Well, isn't that the miracle of 2020? Someone said, like, what's like the one thing you're praying for in 2020? And most people would say, like, COVID disappears. I'd be like, that you sleep through the night. And that COVID would disappear.
Well, I slept 10 hours.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
I've been waiting to tell you because we hadn't seen each other yet today. Yeah. And I knew you'd be really happy.
I'm really happy about that. It must be so nice for you.
One of Dustin's number one pet peeves with me as of late is, do you want to explain what's so frustrating to you about or maybe not frustrating, but you have opinions about why I don't sleep.
Well, I'm trying to help.
Always.
I'm trying to
You're
help
always
you
trying to help
with your sleep.
Whether I want help or not.
So right now the pattern is you don't sleep one night.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to clear out your schedule, take a nap the next day.
Mm-hmm.
But the nap extends quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then the next night you don't sleep because you took a nap. And the cycle continues.
Mm-hmm.
So you're usually up when I'm asleep.
Yep.
And yes, we're trying to work through that.
Yeah.
It's good marriage.
Well, thank you for the help.
Stretch.
I got a little emotional last night.
Oh, you did?
With you. You don't remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I just, I'm so forgiving. I just like, such a short memory.
I was because I woken up at 2:30 a.m., which is normal for me.
Mm.
And I was up for 3 hours. And then I kept having visions of our near-death experience, which I want to give my take on. That we just had last week. And then...
Not to interrupt you, but I did want to jump ahead on my message on Sunday and tell the experience before you told your version.
I know you did. I know. That's exactly why you got ahead of it. But I am going to... So everybody can go listen to Focus Under Fire, episode 1. What is it, Chris? Season...
Part 1.
Part 1.
So glad you're tuned into my messages.
Focus Under Fire Part 1, and you can hear Dustin's version of her near-death experience. But one of the reasons, well, there's 1,000 reasons why I don't sleep. I'm. This is where D and I get complicated and layered because I compensate and make things work.
Yep.
And you want to fix it at the root.
Yeah, strategic planning.
That's you.
Mm-hmm.
But, and maybe this is something we could talk to Randy about. Who I'm 100% having on this
our
podcast.
Therapist. I say he's
life
our
coach.
Life coach.
Yes. But if I can manage it and still show up on time, it's not like I'm not functioning. So if I can manage it, what's wrong with just, napping 4 hours and then being up for 4 hours in the night when I'm reading, or what's wrong with taking a Benadryl? Don't at me with that one.
Guys, we're praying for.
It's over the counter.
We're praying
Dustin hates my Benadryl. But if it's the only option. Anyways, enough about my sleep. Enough about my sleep. I knew you would just be happy that
I'm so happy you slept well.
Thank you, babe. Near-death experience we're coming off of. And it's kind of cool because last time we recorded, we were coming off of, I think, maybe the same vacation time. I'm not sure, but we're coming off of something.
Really?
Yep. And same thing here.
Okay.
So it's meant to be. And we were in Utah.
Yep.
We were road tripping.
Yep. Moab, Utah.
Because of COVID, which is also one of the reasons we don't have video now. So hopefully everybody enjoys the audio. We were in Moab, Utah, and you told the story on Sunday of me booking us an ATV ride.
Yes.
100% true.
Yes, which was incredible.
Agreed.
Thank you for that.
Because I, after becoming a mother, have changed personalities entirely.
Yes.
And you married an adventure. You married a
thrill seeker.
No fear. Nothing can come after me. And then you were married to a different person.
Which was still you, just for clarity.
Well, thank you.
But
you've been married to a few different women.
No, just for the listeners.
Yeah. A few different women being me. And all the changing seasons. And anybody married for more than 5 years is going to understand that concept.
Yes.
And so I know that you love adrenaline. I don't like adrenaline anymore. Again, false advertisement, maybe a little in the beginning, but So I decide to plan an ATV trip for us where we are going to go what I thought were sand dunes.
Right.
And that
might have been my misinformation. I'll admit that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought there were sand dunes coming and I want to please you because I'm a people pleaser, which Randy also says is we talk about it like it's a negative thing and it's not.
Right.
Peter was and the church was built on him.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
So I wanted to please you. You've been driving us all over the country while we play video games. You've been so patient, so good. And I thought, I'm just going to give him one thrilling trip. And so we go in, you told the story, but we're left with two options. Hell's Revenge. Or Chicken Corners.
Chicken's Corners.
And so you wanted to do Hell's Revenge, I could tell.
Definitely. Still do.
Yeah. And still do. You're going to do it with Boppy and Ryan. So I say to you, because I want to please you so much, I'll do it.
Yep.
And it was the moderate trail.
Yep.
But the stipulation was you cannot get mad at me if I freak out.
Right.
So we go through this whole thing with the girl
there. Some beautiful compromises have taken place.
It's honestly.
Which are not really compromises.
No, it's happy, sad.
Happy, sad.
It's happy, sad.
Reference previous podcast.
It's a happy, sad because in any relationship, there should never be one person that's always winning and it's always the happy one. And it's always the one with all of their needs met first.
Right.
So healthy relationships have, okay, I'm happy that this is happening, but I'm also sad that this is happening, and that's healthy.
I'm happy we're going ATV in because that's going to make you
100%. Yep, that's
give you
it.
Joy.
Yep, that's
but
it.
I am sad because it does bring me a little fear or apprehension. Right? That's what you would say.
Oh, that's what I would say. I was like, oh, you were scared beforehand. I was like, you seem really confident. Oh, that's exactly right. Yeah. I'm happy that I'm giving you this thrill and that I'm going to be a part of it and then we're going to make memories with our boys. But I'm also sad because I do have some worry and anxiety at times with like cliffs and fast vehicles. So we go in. Dustin wants to do Hell's Revenge. Everybody who listened to your other one knows we already have driving issues in our marriage.
Yeah.
And so he wants to do Hell's Revenge. I want to give him Hell's Revenge. But I also know myself and I know I'm gonna have issues. So you were happy sad when you said, well, let's do Chicken Corners, the easy route.
Yes.
And so you were more than happy to do that. Nobody's mad. Nobody's acting a fool. It's just, we're going to do Chicken Corners. And I was like, great. Thinking, here we go to the most relaxing sand dune ever.
Chicken's Corners.
How bad could it be?
Sounds so perfect.
Y'all, for real, I am truly, and I say this with all of my heart, if I was hooked up to a lie detector test, I would pass it. I am surprised I'm alive.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh my goodness.
You really don't feel a little grateful to be alive after that?
I'm grateful to be alive.
Well, after Chicken Corners.
But you're not because of Chicken's Corners. And it's chickens, not chicken. Plural.
People can look up the pictures. It's online. There are no words for the horror of this trip, you guys. Whatever Dustin said on Focus Under Fire Part 1. Learner. It was 1,000 times more horrifying and terrifying. It starts out with, there aren't words. We're on cliffs with no guardrails.
True.
We're in an ATV. Our kids are in the car.
Hundreds of feet
of drop-offs.
Yep.
And so like when your body starts to do things before your brain knows what's happening. And so I just start crying. But my brain isn't signaling yet that I'm scared. It happened that quickly because we literally hit the dirt road and we're on a cliff. We are on a cliff. And everybody's like, were you scared because your boys weren't there? I was like, oh, no. No. It had nothing to do with my kids.
Oh, no.
The only consolation, because
was that we would all go together.
You really know me. That's exactly right.
At least we would all
That's
go
exactly
together.
right. That was the only thing I was like, they don't have to grow up without parents.
This is coming from the girl that would rather us fly to vacation on separate airplanes. So just in case something happens, we're not together and our boys are not left without parents. So yeah, we don't fly together much.
And there was a huge storm a couple nights ago. And so Dustin and his sister Casey was visiting. Shout out, love you so much, Casey. Thank you for coming. And they were all, and Ryan and Kim, and they were all in part of the house. And I just slowly went into the other part of the house. And Dustin's like, what are you doing over there? And I was like, I know there's no tornado, but if a tree falls, what are the chances that, it could hit one of us. Yeah. And then our boys still have a mom or a dad.
It's true love. But anyways, in this case, you're just happy that we'd all go together. That was your only consolation.
That was the only consolation. And I'm still shocked that we didn't. Yeah. So we're driving up. I'm freaking out.
I probably would have survived though.
I'm crushed. Of course you would have sprouted wings. Flown away. So we're going up this. Okay, I will make this short. We get there. You can listen to the story, his version of the story. The main part that I want to reiterate that you did not share with the people.
Okay.
So I'm here to give a real picture. Yeah. This is the backstage version of the story.
Bates.
He said that when we were going back down the cliffs that were going to kill us, he got a little bleeding in his head and was like, oh my.
Well, I hit my head.
You hit your head
in
the caves.
Which is embarrassing, but yes,
it
happened.
You hit your head in the caves. You stumble out. You fall into my arms.
Oh my God. Okay. I would really like this podcast to be full of authenticity and integrity.
Because of my worry.
A little exaggeration.
I had wet wipes already stashed in your baboon bag. Shout out to Baboon.
Shout out to Baboon. One of the greatest bags out there.
One of the greatest bags in the whole world. Yep. And so I had already stashed wet wipes because I expected something to happen.
Oh.
And don't even start with, I know exactly where you're going to go with that. Don't even start. This is my room. Actually, we're in your room. Okay. And so we bandage him up. But it was bleeding. It was dripping down your head.
Yeah.
You didn't say this on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I sound like a psychopath because I
didn't want to make anyone sick or something, when they're hearing that.
Yeah.
But it was.
It was dripping down your head. So we bandage you up. I'm like, okay, can you drive? Because I can't drive. And it's getting late and I'm worrying. But, you seemed cognitive. So you put your bandana around your head. The boys hop in the back.
Bandage.
We head back down the death-defying cliffs.
Death-defying.
I would say there was 2 hours of horror, wouldn't you? And this is not 20 minutes of a rough time.
No. It was
this
definitely
is
2 hours of on the edge.
On the edge of
driving.
Death.
And this is not speed driving.
Yep.
This is like crawling at like 10 miles an hour up. No, but I think to your defense.
Oh, thank you.
It's not like we're speeding on a big open
road
along.
No, not at all. We're switchbacks.
It's switchbacks. It's climbing up on rocks.
Yep.
It's very uneven terrain. It was a thrill.
Yeah, and I was awesome in the valley.
Yes.
I was like, go for it. Do your wheelie things or do your jumping rocks things. That's fine if you're but when there's a cliff. So we're on our way down, and then we will get into some like actually good content, you guys. But we're on our way down. If you know Dustin at all, do you want to speak for yourself? Because I don't want to offend you, but you are a little queasy. Let's just say this way. You pass out sometimes.
Thank you for this. Yes. I found myself in the arms of a couple doctors.
You have found yourself. And you've also found yourself in my arms before.
That's true.
As I'm screaming on the phone with your mom, pray, he's passed out.
Okay, this podcast is getting a little revealing.
Backstage. stage. I will cut it.
The real story.
So you get queasy and you can pass out at times with needle stuff or with blood stuff. Remember when Connie injected your staph infection?
Yeah.
Into your forehead? Yeah. Connie's my mom, and
shout out Connie. Thank you.
She did a car operation.
Yeah, saved my life probably.
And so he starts to, we are on the most terrifying part of the entire trip. We are driving up a cliff. Death is awaiting me to the left. And Dustin decides that's the right time to start touching his head and looking at the blood. You know this is true, babe.
I was gauging the amount of blood that was coming from my head because I wanted to know, and I could feel it dripping on my forehead. So I didn't want to I just want to make sure we had it bandaged correctly.
So can you imagine, everyone, and then I'm going to move on from this. Can you imagine the horror knowing that he's having seen your husband pass out from blood and knowing that we are on a cliff going at least 12 miles an hour and he starts feeling the blood on his head? I mean, can you?
Yeah, because you think maybe I'm going to pass out and
100%.
Yeah. And I get that.
Thank you,
I get that for sure. I'd be more apt to pass out if I wouldn't have dabbed it and allowed it to drip down my face, cloud my vision. So the dab was pretty effective.
All right, well, difference of opinions.
I understand.
Okay, thank you. Wow. Okay, happy, sad.
You like this, don't you?
I love it.
Having the power.
I do love it. Chris is nodding. He sees it. Yeah, I love it.
Wow.
The only other part of this trip is that I congratulated you at the end for getting us there alive, and you were offended by that.
Well, I think the way that you congratulated me was like, babe, you did it. As if maybe I wouldn't have driven there and back. So I think the doubt was on your side. And so you congratulated me based on I thought you were going to kill us and you didn't. Good job. But I never had a doubt that I was going to keep us alive and get there safely. So, we just live and learn, don't we?
We really do live and learn.
Talk to Randy about that one.
I already miss Randy. I'm going to call him after this. Wait till Randy hears about the ATV trip. We're literally driving on these cliffs, y'all. And I said to him, and we have been through a hell and back at least 5 to 10 times in our 13 years together. Not always between us, just life. And mostly actually life. Very few between us. And
except for my driving.
Except for your driving. Which, okay, I won't go there. I was going to throw Boppy under the bus.
Oh, don't throw Boppy under the bus. That's my dad.
I'm going to do it.
Oh, okay.
He agrees with me.
About my driving? Yes. Okay, I'm not to throw my dad under the bus, but Dad, you're not the smoothest operator yourself behind the wheel. Man,
broken bow, and I was freaking out, and he gave me a nod that said he understood and agreed.
Oh,
but
the knowing nod.
It could be debated, I'm sure. So sorry for that, Boppy. I just needed some ammo. What was I saying though about the congratulations though? Yes. You didn't like that, but to me, I was that's how happy I was to be alive and shocked I was. I can't believe we did it.
Yeah. We love each other how we want to be loved.
Yeah.
You loving me how you want to. You want to affirming me how you want to be affirmed.
That's exactly right. I just want you to congratulate me for getting through an easy drive.
You made it.
I want to be congratulated every Sunday when I get here on time. I want congratulations.
You know what? I want congratulations every morning I wake up. Okay?
I do too.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
But anyways, we made it. But I was laughing because we've been through so many things in our life and so many traumas and so many horrifying situations. And we were on that cliff and I was like, this may be the thing he divorces me over. Because I wasn't easy.
Now you know it's real.
I wasn't easy in that ATV. I was not cool.
It was a stressful couple hours for sure. I thought we both did pretty well though.
No, we did. Yeah. And we recovered quickly. We got really back and had a nice time.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't talk much on the trip.
No, there was no, it was.
Until you affirmed me at the end and then that was where I snapped. Don't tell me good job.
Anyways, thanks for coming on my podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. Since you were a favorite, I want to have you back. And
I mean so much. Thanks, guys.
Wow, yeah. Wow. Well, I was thinking about it. People, obviously a lot of people know us together, but a lot of people don't know us together.
Right.
And that's the thing I heard the most was oh my goodness, I didn't know you guys interacted like that.
Right.
bickered or had problems or just a few hours ago for my sleep. But I want to dig into a couple things before we bring on our special extra guest.
Oh, extra special guest.
Which I think everybody's going to really love. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, I've been asking some people like what they would want to know about you that wasn't revealed on the last podcast.
Okay.
And just some things about, and a lot of things are leadership and pastoring.
Okay.
So I think a lot of the moms want to know more about how you were raised, which you dug into the last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I have Button coming up. I just gave it away.
Wow.
I have her episode coming up. So she's going to talk about like raising kids because you are a killer dad.
Oh, thank you.
You really are. You're a killer dad. But I think what a lot of people want to know is just leadership for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy in any capacity. And not just in church. Like that's our context.
Right.
But leadership in general it's hard.
Yep.
And there's a lot that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of things. And I think a lot of the things people wanted to know was, where did you go wrong? What would you do over as you were? And I think it can apply to business.
Yeah, totally.
And like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a pastor, I think, but I do think that you've implemented some values and some strategies that have worked.
Yeah.
And some that you would say didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And God obviously compensates for us constantly and is always like
gives us grace
and pulls
brings
us higher.
people in our life to help us.
But I think people would really like to know where you went wrong.
Yeah.
At times. And then I want to hear about what you would double down on 1,000 times over.
Yeah. I think throwing these things at me here. I think where I went wrong, maybe like one more general and then one maybe specific to me. One specific to me is I just listened to people too much about who I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I think that the noise is so loud in our culture. And if you're in the church world, the noise is so loud.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the business world, the noise, at this age, you need to be here and this.
Yep.
And I think I just, not to be like super spiritual, but like David in Saul's armor is like the resounding message for me is he says, I can't go in these. They just, it doesn't feel right. I'm not used to these.
So
and I think I wasted a lot of time trying to wear other people's gifting or other.
And what did that
people's-
look like? Was it like taming?
Like what?
Like taming yourself down, or was it
taming myself down, or just feeling the pressure of at this age I need to have this accomplished.
Just accepting the noise.
Yeah. And I think my preaching style was a big one to me because I think I was insecure a little bit about what I would call unction or the passion, the urgency that I have with my message and felt bad for it. And I think oftentimes
and did you feel bad because of the noise in your head?
Yeah, noise in my head, noise from people. Yeah. Not if it would work.
Okay.
Just wanting, I think people pleasing.
Yeah.
Just wanting to, like, people like funny. I want to be the funny guy.
I remember that actually.
Yeah.
In youth, you really
it didn't work.
No. It did not work. But you did, because there were so many funny youth pastors when we were like kind of in that.
It was kind of like becoming a thing. It was like, it was kind of moving away from preach a little bit more to like tell the funny story, draw people in. And so
we love.
Exactly. We love
if that's your armor.
If that's what you're called to do.
Totally.
And I think I just had to really, I think age, does some of that. Just hard lessons. Your anointing will work.
Yep.
And it works supernaturally. So there's I can be a different communicator. I just abandon the anointing that's on the gift that God gave me. And I think I did that sometimes, trying to just fit. And when I really started to settle in, it was like clarity really came to the past years of, it was so much stress too, of just pressure of like feeling I had to be this or it wasn't good enough. And after I preached, literally days feeling like, oh, I should have done this, or I shouldn't have said that. I should have said this.
So I think that's good for everybody to hear. They think they're the only ones that go to sleep at night.
Second guessing themselves. Right. I mean,
still to this day. People would think that you wouldn't, I think.
Yeah. Still to this day, I I said something on Sunday that I just have been beating myself up about.
Man.
Like, why did I say it that way?
Yeah.
I should have said it this way, or should have said it softer. I shouldn't have said that. And who heard that? And I know their situation, so I don't want it to hurt them, even though it was a general point. So you just play those things through your mind.
Yep.
And I think what I've really settled into is finding out who I am.
Yeah.
And that works.
Yep, it works.
God smiles on it. His anointing's on it. It works. I don't have to be ashamed of it. So I think that's like a
general one.
A general one.
Yeah.
I think, or a specific one to me.
Oh, yeah.
But I think more of a general one to people in their leadership journey is, I think, just. I hate the word content, although we should be content. But I think really giving yourself to a long-term journey.
Yeah.
I always wanted things right away.
So
I want it now. I want it to grow now. I want people to be reached now. Which I think there's good motives in that, but it can get blurry in the midst of the race of life. And so I think just like knowing that things are going to come.
Yeah.
Just having the confidence, it's going to work out.
Yep.
It's going to come full circle. And I think I made mistakes early on of just trying to do things too fast.
Yep.
And not so much in the church progress, but my own leadership of just, I have to have this by now. I got to do this. I got to do that. And I think there's ambition, which is good.
Yep.
It's
not bad.
It's a good source.
Yep.
I think it's helped me in so many ways. There's drive, there's grit. But if you're not, and I'll use that word again that I don't really like, but if you're not content in the pace that God brings things and grows things, you'll be doing all that for you.
Yeah.
And I think I had to get some of that peeled off of me. I guess they kind of connect together.
Yeah.
I just had to peel some of me off.
Yep.
This and just settle into what God called me to do.
Yep.
And I'm going to be faithful to do it. I'm not called to run anybody else's race. I'm called to run mine. I don't have anybody else's church. I have mine. I don't have anybody else's anointing. I have mine. I don't have anybody else's family. I have mine. Just settling into that.
Yeah. Do you think you have?
Yeah, I think I have.
Good,
I think I have.
That's
I think
amazing.
there's
I think you have too.
definitely with my call and my gifting, I think I've really settled into that. I think even this last week I was texting with Pastor Steve and about a big decision we got coming up and about some additions, progress the church is going to hear about. It's going to be awesome. But I just told him, I want it to be God and not me trying to make this work.
Right.
Because God's just blessed us with great people that can do a lot of things and great campuses and pastors. And we can accomplish a lot in the natural. And I just want it to be, I want it to be God. So I think my mistakes from the past aid me right now in
they're
just
serving you now.
Okay, I know I can do this, but is it right to do? Is it what God's telling us to do? If that
very much makes sense, and that's so good. What do you think? Let's say somebody's listening and they're not called to pastorness. They don't have your call. Yeah. But they're curious as to what they're supposed to be doing on earth.
Yeah.
And how do you discover an anointing? How do you know what you're are there tells? Ooh, this is what.
Yeah. I think when you find your purpose, whatever God's purposed you to do, there's an anointing that comes on that. And the anointing's a super spiritual word for just God's empowerment. God's
right.
super on our natural.
Yes.
And we get real he's anointed.
Right.
And it's
everybody
has an anointing.
Right.
In the sweet spot that God's called it. So our aim of life is to find the sweet spot. And for some people, that's not occupational ministry. That's business. That's in the marketplace. That's in the family. That's it. There's so many areas. And God anoints us to do those things. And when they built the temple, it says that God anointed their hands to be skilled craftsmen. So the people that were actually forming the temple were anointed to build.
For that.
Anointed for construction.
To literally build.
And so I think that
that's so good.
I think
you don't have to be in ministry to be anointed.
You don't got to preach. You don't have to have a platform. You don't have to have a podcast. You don't have to. But finding the thing and being okay with it. So someone that has an influencer is not at the mercy of someone who has a stage, and someone who has a stage is not at the mercy of someone who has a podcast. Someone who has a podcast is not at the mercy of someone who stays at home.
It's great.
It just I think we have to get rid of that. And that's the mistakes I've made in the past. And really just settle. I don't like the word settle either, but find
great. Loving settle.
Find the identity of.
Yes,
so I think
really good.
The way you find your purpose is things that you're passionate about, things that annoy you.
Yes.
Because oftentimes you're annoyed by the thing you have the power to fix.
To change. That's right.
So when there's something
that's so good
that like, man, I just wish they would do it that way. You could be a part of the solution because a lot of people don't notice that. You notice it. And so I think something you're passionate about, something you're annoyed by.
It's great.
And then I think sometimes something you're broken for. There's often a cause that comes up and compassion overwhelms you. And so not only are you passionate about it, but there's a brokenness in you. Because our reason being on the planet, and this is what I wish people would just know, is not to build a great business. It's to build the kingdom. So everything we do with our hands and with our lives and with our families is to build
what God's doing on earth.
It's about what God's doing on earth. And we're going to keep on bringing heaven to earth until the end. And that's the goal. The kingdom goes forward. The church moves forward. So I think like for people that are even listening right now, I think just understanding that there is something in your life that you're anointed to do. And don't want something else at the mercy or at the and neglect the thing that God's given you that you're good. So good at. I think with your purpose too, it's not just something you're passionate about, but you have to be gifted for.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that are like passionate about teaching, but people don't want to listen to them.
Totally.
So you also, there has to be some ability in it that goes hand in hand.
100%.
But you find some people, I was just thinking of a lady in our church that just like magnetic personality. Renee Lopez, shout out. I mean, she just like, she's friends. She meets no strangers. She's friends with everybody. That's a gift. So she needs to be doing something with people because it's not only a passion of hers, but there's a talent.
There's a talent.
People feel empowered. They feel encouraged around her.
Yes.
And so I think
that's really
those
good.
things go hand in hand. Just like I'm passionate about. And
you have to reconcile that with God.
Absolutely.
Because if you're mad because for 10 years now you've never been on a stage singing, I would die to be singing on the stage. But Pastor Ben won't.
He will not let you.
Like I would love
because your talent doesn't match your passion. My talent doesn't match
my passion to control all things worship.
But you can still worship.
I can. Okay, thank you, Pastor. But I think that's a really good point, and we have to do serious like introspection.
Ooh. Some chemistry today.
Serious interest and like really assess like, okay, if I feel like I'm a leader, but nobody ever shows up and I can't talk to people, which there's nothing wrong with that. Those people, I mean, I think about Ashley Moore, in our church. And she told me years ago, shout out Ashley. She told me years ago, she was like, never put me at a front door. She goes, don't put me at a front door.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, and she's the most wonderful, friendly, kind, loving person, but she knew. She knows herself, and although she loves people, she knows that she shouldn't be the first person that somebody walks into the church.
Right.
She's like, I'm going to be nervous, or I forget her exact wording about herself, but it was so, it was just so smart.
There's something about finding your niche.
Your niche.
That this is, I'm good at this.
Yep.
I remember when I was still youth pastor, Pastor Steve is founding pastor. He was the pastor at that point. And Ryan, my brother, came to visit. And he came to visit, and Pastor Steve spent some time with him. And I remember where we were parked. We were right outside in the car, and we're having this conversation. And he goes, Dustin, he goes, you need to hire Ryan. And I'm like, man, I would love to hire Ryan. I'd love to have my brother here. And he goes, let me tell you why I think you should hire Ryan. So you should hire Ryan because he is found his gift, his niche. He found his gift mix and how it works.
The gift and the anointing.
And they've come together. And he's not trying to be anything else.
That's right.
He's a number 2 guy, and he's not having an aspiration to be a number 1. He knows where he can make things run.
Yes.
He can make things
I wouldn't have had a
happen.
mic on Sunday. My mic was turned off, and I don't know how to turn the mics on.
Right.
And I'm up there about to go on, and Ryan taps me on the arm backstage and was like, your mic's not on. And of course, hand it to him. But it wouldn't have worked.
We wouldn't have service without him.
We wouldn't have service.
We wouldn't have a live stream throughout this COVID and all that. And I just think like when you find it, like he has no aspirations to have my job.
No.
He doesn't want my job at all. Yeah. He sees behind the scenes. He's like, no way.
No.
I like but he's found his gift.
Yep.
And it's worked for him.
Yep.
It's worked for their family. And when Pastor Steve told me, he said, it is so rare for someone to identify they have giftings to be a number 2 and not have aspirations to be a number 1. Because most of the times number 2 in command or whatever, they try to supersede. No, I'll say it this way. They have success in number 2, which gives them confidence to think that they could step outside of their gifting and be number 1. Ryan's a great leader. He could lead stuff. He could be a number 1.
Oh, he's got the largest group. I mean,
he's a great discipler. He has so many gifts and talents, but he's found his sweet spot.
Yep.
And I think that's just really powerful. And Pastor Steve recognized that in him.
Do you think we could do better as a church as a whole? Not necessarily ours, but I think I do see this everywhere, and I would like your thoughts on it. Like the stage is very glorified.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it will never not be glorified just because it is the thing you see.
Right.
But being somebody who's on the stage, you being like, it's not what it seems.
Right.
And it's not, I just wonder how can we reset as a Christian community in general, like why are the people on the stage the most important, or is that what most people want, or do you think that most people don't? I don't know. Most people don't want the stage. Or do you think most people don't?
I think it is glorified.
I think there's a part of it is just it is what it is. But
I think in Christian circles we make it so spiritual, obviously.
Yep.
But it becomes something that is very practically explained.
Yeah.
But in our Christian communities, we magnify it so much.
Yeah.
So nobody gets mad at the someone who runs an organization.
Right.
No one gets mad when Apple does a press release and their leader gives the press release. Yeah. And the programmer in Building 27 is not like, I should be giving the press release. But in the Christian community, because we're all anointed, we're all called, we are the body of Christ, there is this weird mystical identity that we put on it.
Yeah.
That is like, well, I'm on the stage because I lead the organization and I'm the main communicator.
Right.
That's
it.
If it was in the world,
it's just what you do.
We would never second guess it for a second, or think that I should have that job.
That's a really good perspective.
And I think that if we can strip that away and just realize we all have a role.
Yep.
We all have a role in this organism that is the church, the body of Jesus Christ. We all are a part of that.
Great job not calling it the orgasm.
Wow. Thanks for bringing up my single greatest speaking blunder ever. Talk about mistakes. Folks, one of the worst mistakes I ever made. I'll cut it out if you want.
Speaking. I'll cut it out. But whenever you say organism now I cannot.
Think of it. And probably half the church just listening to this 100%. Is thinking the same thing. But it was a passionate moment. I was preaching. We are the living orgasm of Jesus Christ. So yeah. There's no coming back from
You owned it though.
Yeah, I mean, there's no coming back from
You broke down yourself laughing and you were like, wow, there's no... What do you think are a couple of things that you really doubled down on it was a good move? As far as leadership, growth, Two things come to my mind immediately. What?
One, loyalty. Loyalty.
Yeah.
To people.
Yeah.
To the Lord.
Yeah.
To people that labor beside you.
Yep.
Loyalty.
Yeah, you are.
Loyalty.
Yep.
That's it. The second thing that just comes to my mind, you always do good to people. You always help
you
people
annoyingly
that are less
this way in life.
Have less than you.
Not that part.
And it's you never know when you're going to be in that place.
Yep.
And for me, I think growing up in ministry, when I was young in ministry, and this is to no one's fault, but oftentimes I felt like I was just alone.
Yeah.
that I didn't have. I didn't know who to go with with a problem. I had my dad, who was a great mentor and leader, but navigating later in life, I'm trying to just navigate this. Friends or will people? Where do you go?
Yeah, where do you go?
And I just think there was times I really had need, and we had no budget. We had no. I mean, it just we're duct taping mics on broomsticks. I mean, just. A little bit would go so far. And I'm just trying to remember that now as God's blessed us and as we've grown and increased. And so I just think you can never go wrong. And you know, what's interesting is that it comes under attack so often. And I just have to keep reminding myself, you always do right.
You do right.
You always, I used to be, and somebody's going to remember this, that's on that's listening to this, back in the Assemblies of God, all right? They've got a program.
That's where, those are your roots.
Yeah, roots were in the Assemblies of God. They have a program called Royal Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Christian Boy Scouts. And I did Royal Rangers. Couldn't say my R's, so it was really embarrassing because I called it Royal Rangers. People make fun of me, you know. I'll get over it. Randy.
Randy.
But they had the golden rule is what they quoted all the time. Do unto others what you would like to have done to you. Yeah. And that's the crux of my leadership. Yeah. Is I want to help.
You are
people.
very much a helper.
And I think sometimes that can be like a facade for people. Like I really.
No, I know you do.
I really feel that.
You don't care if you're repaid it. Ever.
No, I would drop anything. And I don't know if that's like the way God made me or if that's a leadership skill. I don't know. Maybe my parents could the way they raised me. But I just think in life in general, we were, let's see, where were we? Somewhere on vacation. We were talking, it was our Uber driver one time when we were going into, were we going into?
Santa Fe.
No, Uber driver, the older guy going into Zion National Park.
Oh, on this trip.
Yes, on this last trip.
Okay.
And he said, he goes, I'm a big believer in karma.
Yes,
because a rock had fallen down the mountain and crushed a little cabin.
Random house.
Yeah, and he's like, look at that. You can see the house sticking out front of that rock.
They must have done something bad.
He must have done something really bad. And obviously we believe in sowing and reaping.
Yep.
But for everyone that's listening, if you can just make a rule for yourself, no matter what happens as a result, even if you do good and are returned evil for that good,
which will oftentimes happen.
It will happen. It feels so good to go to bed
be on the right side. Yes.
With a clear conscience, knowing you tell the truth, you speak the truth, you live the truth, and you've really helped people.
Yep. And sometimes you kept your mouth shut.
A lot of times you keep your mouth shut. And that's okay. It's okay.
Yep.
And I think sometimes in our world, everything is a repayment. So I've given a little bit, now I expect something from you.
Yep.
And I think there is a real power in the spiritual realm.
Yep.
There's a power in giving without someone giving back.
Yes.
And Bishop always says that relationships thrive on reciprocity. That relationships will die if there's not reciprocity. But I really believe that. I believe there's something powerful that happens in you when you can give and not expect. And I just, that is a leadership lesson that I live by. And we've done it here. One of Pastor Tyler Wooten and Jay Lee, incredible people. They came on our staff, and they came on our staff because they needed a place. They needed a place. That's how they came here. Yeah. And then they served 3 awesome years. We launched them into their next season of ministry. They transitioned so well. We're so proud of them. We love them. Yep. But it just felt good. Yeah. Like they needed something. And then that was a good example of reciprocity. Right. Because they invested into our body and they invested in our church and did a great job. But those are the 2 things I've been thinking about today. Really, really like when you said that, those are 2 things that came: loyalty. Yep. And just doing right. Yep. Just do the right thing. I was Casey, shout out Casey, got another one. She was just here this weekend. That's his sister. And it goes Lindsay, my oldest sister, me, Ryan, Casey, and Whitney is the youngest. Casey, so she's here, and we're walking through the mall, and there's trash on the ground. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. Right. So no one's touching anything. She picks up trash. Of course. And then she throws in the garbage. And I'm like, oh my goodness, But that goes back to my dad.
Right.
Like he taught us to see and to do right even when no one's looking.
Totally.
That's not her job.
Yep.
But to have the initiative. Initiative was like.
Do you know what's so funny?
What?
Yesterday morning, when the trash guy came, Monday mornings.
Yes.
He emptied our neighbor's trash opposite the alley. This is hilarious. Opposite the alley. He missed the garbage can. There was litter all over from our neighbors on the other side from the garbage truck. And I came out to take out our trash, and Whitney is out picking up their trash. That is weird.
That is weird.
And I was like, Whitney, what are you?
That's some boppy training right there.
I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, their trash got whatever. I mean, she's picking up. I mean, there's like letters in and she put it in our garbage can. Like, hopefully there's no like heroin.
Oh my God.
Cocaine. We'll get framed. But how interesting is that? Like as a family.
Yeah.
That, that's pretty, like we pray it over the boys every night. And I think I got that from a pastor a long time ago. And I thought before I had kids, I thought when I have kids, this is going to be my number one prayer for them, which is I pray that they will always know the right thing to do and have the courage to do it even when it's hard.
I love that.
And
I've adopted that prayer as well.
I know you have. You've added it to your prayer over them, which is sweet. Yeah. But they'll do it. They'll say it right back to me. Like, well, when you start prayers, they can repeat the whole thing. But do the right thing even when it's hard.
Isn't it crazy
but that's
that the
really
most
good.
Simplistic things in our life are the most difficult to live?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to drop their coffee right now about like, oh, yeah, just do the right thing.
Right.
But so many people don't do the right thing.
But let's really buckle down on eschatology.
I've got some thoughts.
Let's make sure that our hermeneutics are, I mean, it's just crazy.
Let's make sure everybody else.
Oh, everybody else is
living right and teaching right.
And if they're not.
Yeah, boy.
False.
Boy. What's that scripture? Take the plank out of you.
Oh, man, babe, that's really, static. Really good. Okay, well, we're going to bring our special guest here in a minute. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, because you have made a lot of stands. Well, COVID was hard.
Yep.
And we're still in the middle of it. And so as a church, like you had a lot of really hard decisions to make where literally it felt at times like nobody was pleased.
Yeah.
And then the racial injustice it's always been here, but it got magnified. You took a blatant stance on that, in which you also got a lot of nice Christian feedback. And then I think there was something else. I don't remember what it was, but it's been a lot since March till now. And we're filming now in August. And I was thinking about, like, obviously anybody who walks into leadership, you're going to be criticized. So don't do it. Yep. If you want influence,
you gotta
get ready.
Critique. And I remember the stage. You got to handle the praises.
You got to handle the light.
The criticisms.
I mean, it is just, I have been shocked at what you've endured and since March. And some people have come at you with criticisms that were very kind.
Absolutely.
And respectful.
Yep.
And Christian.
Yep.
Because we can disagree. Peter and Paul were the cutest frenemies of all time. But Peter said about Paul, he's hard to understand, but he's well worth reading, right? Mm. And so some people have done it so well and other people have you've always, again, anybody with a stage is going to be lit up, but it has been exponentially more intense, I feel like, since COVID, and then the masks became politicized, and then the virus became politicized, and then we're in an election year, and then you took a stand for Black lives, and I just want to talk. I want to hear your thoughts on, because I feel like you do this well. How does somebody handle criticism?
Yeah,
because I think you've taught me this.
And there's been more noise for sure.
Yep.
And it's part of it.
Yep.
It's part of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And our world is, I've honestly, in my whole lifetime, never seen a time where things are so tense.
Yep.
I mean, there is so much division on so many different things on if we should play basketball or not. I mean, it's just, it's everywhere.
Right. I know your opinion on that one.
Playoffs. Let's go LeBron tonight. Let's go.
Oh.
But I think that going back to Pastor Steve,
Yep.
he told me, he said, in every criticism,
Look for
there's a little bit of truth.
Yeah.
And so if you can find the truth, you can have understanding for the critiquer.
Yep.
And I, as hard as that has been, because I'm a defensive person. Like I want to defend my heart in it. I do the right thing.
Because you have a good
so
heart.
I want to
really
defend
do
like,
have a good
love
heart.
of your heart. Like, no. And
yeah,
I've had to make it a discipline. It's not come natural. I've not always done it perfect, but to find the truth in the criticism. So I understand when we say Black Lives Matter from the platform, I understand both sides.
Yep.
I understand that Black Lives Matter as a movement is completely anti what I believe as a believer and as a man of God. All my core beliefs, they are anti.
But they managed to get the slogan. And
they have the slogan.
And we don't get it.
And I think what's frustrating is that we can't see past
that.
We can't see past that
Yep.
to help our brother, to just let you know, hey, your Black life matters. And so now they robbed us of those words, which I hate. I want the church to redeem those words.
100%.
Let's have our own Black Lives Matter movement.
Well, I love how you said it one Sunday. You go, how is this for everybody after 100 emails? Black lives absolutely matter.
Right, change it.
Right, like it's not.
But I understand because,
but you understand because people don't know you personally.
Well, not only that, I just understand the tension of right now.
Yep.
And if you believe one thing, then you might be moved to one side of a political party. You might, so everything's politicized. I get all of that. I think we've got to shake it back down to I'm a Christian before I am a Republican or before I'm a Democrat.
Before I'm an American.
I'm a Christian before I'm a conservative.
Before I'm a
before I'm American, before I'm a but liberal. I'm a Christian. And I got to have those values. So I think for people that get critique, I think there's a couple things that I would do that are just like that I always do. I try to find the truth in it.
Good. Yep.
Because it'll help you understand where people are coming from. So I got some.
You're really good at this.
Some people said some things that were not nice, and they came at us in a way that maybe wasn't kind. But I could see where they're coming from.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like I get that. Now I'm not going to change my stance because of your critique. Because I got to be honest, I got to be true to me and what God's asking me to do. But I understand it, and I can help bring some clarity. So I think find the truth in it. The second thing is, and I think this is really difficult for people at times because the noise is noise no matter who it's coming from. But you have to consider the source. And the fruit of someone's life shows a lot about the noise that they provide. We all just
listen to everybody and we don't even look at what's going on.
So someone's railing, you're in an argument with someone on social media that has 13 followers and that blogs from their mother's basement and has all this stuff to say. Why are you even engaging that? And so I got to find the truth in it because I want to have a place of humility. I want to understand that I could be wrong in this. And there's things I need to adjust. And then B, I need to consider the source. Is what's the fruit of their life? Is it fruit that I really respect? So I've had people that have given critique about the church that I really respect. And they handle in a way, Pastor, we respect you, we honor you. We just want to make you aware of something. And because I respect the fruit of their life. And I respect the way in which they've brought it. There's been major pivots that we've made because of respectable voices.
With good fruit.
It's called leadership by plurality. It's not one person that makes the decisions. It's like sometimes with the board. Like I want to do something and the board has to govern that position and tell me no.
You're not a Lone Ranger.
Unfortunately, I mean it'd be easier, right?
You do pivot a lot though. But never because you're trying to please a person.
It's not about people pleasing.
No, it's not.
It's about being subjected to trusted voices.
With good.
And then there's some people, there's some people that are not invested in the church in any way. They come every once in a while. They've never given generously. They've never, I mean,
they don't serve Dream Center.
But they want to direct the vision. I'm sorry. The fruit of your life mutes your voice. And, but I think if they came in a respectful way, and because we want to be open, because I can't see everything.
No.
I've got blind spots.
You've always said that, and
And we've changed as a church over the years, and we've grown, and we have not done everything right. There's been things that we've seen that, you know what, we can do better in this area. Or we can love people better in this area. We can lead. And so I think those two things are kind of the rules that I live by with critique.
Really good.
Is find the truth in it first.
And look
so
at
you can be humble, which is hard, and then look at the fruit.
It's really, really
You'll feel better about yourself.
You will. Oh, so good. Well, you are really good at it.
Thank you,
I remember when we were youth pastors, YFN was interviewing me, or maybe CFNI. I had a call, and they were like interviewing female pastors, and they were like, "What's the one thing you would say to?" And this is before we even were, barely where we are now. And they were like, "What's the one thing advice you would give somebody going into ministry?" And I said, "Figure out how to handle criticism." And she goes, "Wow."
Yeah.
And I still remember her being like, "Nobody said that." And I was like, "Well, I'm the one telling you the truth. If you can't handle it, don't do it."
You're right.
I remember Ashley, my sister, she was a teacher in Wiley.
Yeah.
And we just had back to school Sunday. Teaching is so stressful. Our educators give so much. And then there's school politics, and then there's all these different things. And I remember her one day coming to me and being like, I was sitting in my classroom overwhelmed by parents' demands, personal pressure she was putting on herself. And she has a certain level of pay, which Texas pays their teachers better than a lot of other states. And she goes, and I saw the janitor walk by my door. And she was like, with just headphones in. And she was like, I think that would be worth it. Like, I think I would take 20,000 less, which I don't know. Actually, probably janitors are paid quite well. I don't know. But in her mind, what she was putting together was, you are at the level of the heat that you can take. And if you can't take it, if you can't take it, don't do it. And
you remember we were at a conference with TD Jakes.
I do remember.
It was called Project Gideon. Doesn't do it anymore. With the kind of young pastors. We were kind of new in the area.
Oh yeah.
And we're like, oh man, TD Jakes is here. Like, let's try to do this conference. So we went.
Goodness. We weren't even lead pastors.
No, we were still youth pastors.
We didn't know what was coming.
And he got up and I mean, I don't know for how many minutes.
Oh, probably 4 or 5 minutes.
That he
said one line.
It's hot up here.
It's hot up here.
It's hot up here.
It's really
it's blazing hot up here. He just kept on saying
so hot up here. Yep.
Referring to the heat that comes with increased responsibility and influence
and leadership.
And the more people you pastor, the more heat you're going to take. And I think you're exactly right. If you can't handle that, you can't be in it.
It doesn't make anybody bad.
There's gonna be people that disagree.
Yep.
There's gonna be people that are hurt, even when you feel like you've done the right thing and you've done everything you can to help. There's gonna be people that walk away.
Yep.
And that's why you have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So that you can lay in bed at night in the midst of the noise and the critique and know I did everything in my power to do the right thing.
Yep.
To do the right thing by them and to do the right thing by God. But criticism is real. And everybody's got it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, if you look on Twitter of like a pro sports athlete, you got people that are saying they're amazing and people saying they should quit.
Yep.
So it's the level of influence is directly proportionate to your level of exposure.
Exactly.
And that exposure produces criticism.
Yep.
It just
is
what it is.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
But you got to be ready for it.
And you have to love people through it.
Well, that's the last thing I was going to say before pulling Binky Boo in. I was going to say, like,
oh, that's a special guest?
Binky Boo, you're in big trouble. The hardest part of criticism is not becoming embittered.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you've really taught me, with some side help from my side piece, Randy.
Could we not call him your side piece? Oh.
But if it absorbs, it's the whole thing about like a boat works perfectly on water, but if water gets in, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you got to keep the water out.
You got to keep the water out. And that's hard to do. And I think sometimes keeping the water out looks like becoming a recluse, a bitter person, a hater, a whatever. And I feel like I've been learning this journey since even our last podcast, which we touched on, but like that you have to be able to handle whatever comes at you if you're a leader in any kind of position. And at the same time, handling it doesn't mean becoming
bitter,
icky,
upset,
inside,
not trusting people. That's the thing.
Where your fruit starts to spoil.
Yeah,
and I think I've been on that edge before.
You're doing a good job.
My fruit has gotten close to spoiling, but then I threw it back in the fridge and it's revived.
God's reviving it.
But I think like at the end of the day, we have to be Christians, and it's so.
Well,
it's. So,
I heard a pastor say this. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I don't even remember his name. I just remember this phrase. Sticking in my head.
Yeah.
And now I think I just lost my train of thought, but I'm going to come back to that in a second. Loving people through it is, I think, the real test of Christianity.
It is. And that's super annoying, and I'm not okay with it. And I'm taking it up with God when we get to heaven.
To love people only when they love you is not a test of love.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, this is not going well.
It's too soon.
This is not going well.
No, I like what you are saying. What's true though.
I just think
every person in the entire world needs to Christian.
Yeah,
needs to hear this.
Yes, and there's a lot of people in the church that disagree in our church here in Allen, in our other campuses that might disagree on some area of theology with me.
Yep.
Me and Pastor Steve don't even agree on every area of theology.
Yeah.
But we're in unity.
Right.
And I think that you can't take a critique or a disagreement and
break a relationship.
Break a relationship.
Right. Or call somebody a false prophet because they don't believe in the rapture.
even if you do disagree, and even if you have good grounds to do it.
Yep.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I was telling him, we were talking about this, like just differences in people and people that are theologically off in areas. And I just told him, I'm like, you know what? There's so many fires to fight right now in our culture. Like we should just stay away from friendly fire. And I'm not saying you shouldn't call someone or should like accept heresy. I'm just saying like, let's win the lost.
Yeah.
Let's just love people well. Right. There's so much hate.
Right.
There's
let's feed the hungry.
Let's just be the hands and feet of Jesus. Let's do the work
that he told us to freaking do.
Instead of eliminate all the bad Christians so that we can really have a true religion.
Okay, yes, that'll work.
Okay.
You know when I start to get too fired up,
we need to wrap this up.
Okay, should we bring in our Binky Boo?
Sure.
Anything else on that
Do you
though
want
on
to
being a real Christian?
What a Binky Boo is
I will explain
or
what a Binky
who
Boo
that is?
But I think you have a lot of authority in what you're saying. I don't quite yet. My fruit's still in the fridge though. It's not rotten. But is there anything else you want to say about that? Just being that's the one thing in this season since March till now that I've been going over and over is my two things that God has told me is be a Christian, what it really looks like, and give God time. Yeah. That's it. And the third one would be just keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know, just do the work, trust God, be what he said, have the fruit. It's crazy how the fruit tries to spoil though.
Yeah, it does. It does. It is not our neutral.
It's not our
default position.
Oh, you're about to go into deconstruction.
No, I'm not. Not today.
Next today. Podcast.
But I am working. Just so everybody knows, I'm working on a project about deconstructing some of the dangerous ideas behind deconstruction. Some things need to be deconstructed.
Yeah.
Like our religious practices.
Right.
And but our theology and truth does not need to be deconstructed. And people that say that are living, talk about calling out false prophets, are living in error and heresy. I mean, it's crazy. You can't lead people astray by saying his truth is not truth. Or that you are Christ.
Now you're getting fired up.
I am getting fired up. I am getting fired up.
I knew I shouldn't get you started on it, but you were talking about neutral.
Yeah, I'll say on criticism.
Okay.
I think just let's have grace for people.
Yeah.
I look back to some of the things I preached 10 years ago.
Oh.
And I'm like, man, I should have had more grace for people. How I led 15 years ago, I should have had more grace for people. And you reap what you sow. You really do.
You do. Yeah.
And like, we know this. Yep. But I just think like, you know what? Someone might get mad about something and critique, the church or what we should do or my preaching or how I should preach. And you know what? That's their perspective. And I'm going to find the truth in it. I'm going to love them through it. We're going to be okay. I actually talked to a guy, which I'm not going to call his name out. I want to call him out because I'm just so proud of him. But a guy in our church that disagreed with me about something and pretty violently disagreed. Like, I mean, blasted me pretty good through text. He has my number. I know, like blasted me pretty good. And I called him, we talked it through, and I'm just like, I just love him because we disagreed. He explained his point of view. We talked it out. He then apologized for the way. He said, I was tense. I had other things going on. I came at you this way. He was man enough to just say, that wasn't right.
Yeah, that's
how
a Christian.
I came at you. Not only that, I saw some truth from him. He saw some truth from me.
Yeah.
Now we're closer than we've ever been.
Wow.
And that's Christianity.
That's what it is.
To love someone through it. And now I'm not going to hold it over his head. You remember the time you?
Yep.
Like,
no.
it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
And there's times I've been emotional and said things, probably to you. Or to Binky Boo.
Or to Binky Boo. Oh, let's pull her in. Here she is.
Hello.
Oh. Binky Boo is here. So background on our Binky Boo. This is, I'm making her do this. This is not her forte or her sweet spot. Speaking of anointing and talent mixing, I don't know if there's ever been a more talented person than our Binky Boo. No offense, Steve. But Binky Boo assistant is a ridiculous word for her.
Right.
Because
her name is Bianca. Our boys started calling her Binky Boo. Jamie adopts whatever name our boys use. So my dad, he is Boppy.
Yep.
My mom, she is Button.
Yep.
Because that's what the boys call him. Yep. I refuse to call my dad Boppy or my mom Button.
And Bianca.
Mom and dad's gonna stay with that.
It's weird even saying Bianca. It's been so long since
I think I call you.
You call her Binks. She's Binks to you.
Binks mostly.
Binks and Binky Boo.
I never get my full name. If I get my full name, I'm like in trouble.
What is your middle name?
Lily.
Oh, that's right. I know that. Precious. I know that from your handle. From your handle, yeah. Okay, so Binky is. I will be referring to her as Binky. You will be referring to her as Binks.
Okay.
We can agree to disagree. She is technically your assistant, but a whole heck of a lot more than that.
Yeah. She's on our executive team now.
She's on our executive team. She runs things around here. She runs me. She runs you goodness. Some of the time.
Yes. Well, last night, speaking of.
Last night?
Was it, no, 2 nights ago. Were you at our house last night or 2 nights ago?
She was there during the storm.
Sunday night.
During the storm,
yeah.
And we were going out with Casey and Bianca was over at the house and she was helping with the boys and putting them to bed. They're like besties. And Jude
So that's separate from her official job.
Yes.
She's just also best friends with our children.
Jude sticks his head, our oldest, sticks his head over the railing and yells down, Dad, Binky Boo's your boss.
I did not pay him to say that.
So if that tells you anything, what they think is that Bianca tells us all what to do.
Binky is the silent hurricane tornado force behind absolutely every good thing that happens here.
Yeah, absolutely.
She takes care of us. She leads, she guides, she organizes,
leads a team,
her level,
trains staff.
I mean, her capacity, I don't know of anybody that has a bigger capacity.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, you just came in to get confirmed.
To all the staff watching, you're pretty close.
But the level of information that she can take in, assimilate, the things
she's
that she
in
can
all
do.
of my most intense meetings.
Oh my word!
Or high levels planning, strategizing.
The three of us have been through a lot. Do you guys remember years ago when we went through a really big thing and we all took turns crying?
I don't remember any of this.
You blocked it out, probably.
You don't remember that specific moment. I think me and Jamie talked about the other day. We're like, we remember in vivid detail. And we're like, I blocked it all out.
but we're so synced. The three of us are so synced, and our relationship dynamics are so funny because like
waves.
100%. We all go in waves. And so like
helping each other.
Dustin would get like upset or be going through something and then we would like assimilate. And then Binky would like see it coming on me and Dustin would like nod at Binky and be like, it's coming on her now. And then I would start to cry. And then, I mean, that is our relationship. And then it's just, we have been through hell and high water so many times, but also so many good things. A little background though. Binky was one of the first people I met here in Texas.
Yeah.
You were a youth.
Why don't you describe
You were a youth.
what did she look like when you met her?
This was coming. I was waiting for it.
She was gothed out because I don't even know if people know
emo.
what goth is anymore. But
pop.
Oh, she really does not want to be branded incorrectly.
There's me and Chris were talking about the other day. There's differences between like heavy metal. You know, I wasn't like screamo. I don't like loud noises.
Okay.
I do like poppy punk, like
nice,
enough angsty,
dark happiness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like sad with a beat to it.
Sad with a beat to it.
All my Enneagram 4s know.
Oh, Enneagram 4.
Wow.
Oh, speaking of, Binky and I have decided your Enneagram, so you don't even have a say anymore because we know you better than anybody and we know.
Yeah.
So you have that to deal
We're
with.
opposite.
But
We're
yeah.
parallel.
Could you add this to my rider for any podcasting that we will not talk about my
the
Enneagram?
Such a hater. But Binky was a youth. You were pop punk.
Were you in junior high?
I had just
freshman?
started 9th grade.
Yeah,
you were
freshman
not
high
a
school.
happy person.
No.
You were not a happy person.
Not at
You
all.
were very, I mean, I don't want to put words in
No,
your
it's
experience, but you were
I think just really shut down.
shut down.
Like
That's
I
a
just
good way to
didn't trust
describe
people.
it.
Didn't like. I remember meeting you for the first time
At the
We were
pool.
at the
Natatorium.
natatorium
Yep.
for our D Now weekend,
Mhm.
and everybody was swimming, and I did not want to be there.
Mhm.
Like just really did not want to be there. And I was sitting on the bleachers by myself, and I just remember you coming and sitting over and talking to me, and I was like, "What does she want?"
Yeah, that was your neutral.
And you were like
Was-
so
yeah.
nice. And I was like, "Oh, like there's nice people."
And I was like, I like pop punk too. I crowd surfed a Bad Religion. So back in my 20s.
I don't even remember what we talked about, but I remember that.
It was like, and it's funny that we remember meeting each other like so vividly. Do you remember Binky on the first day, or is it just me?
Well, I don't remember at the natatorium. So.
You were in there
I don't
swimming with
remember.
Colton Harker and Stephen Collins.
my emo friends.
Yeah.
But you were what, a freshman?
I had just started freshman
You were
year. So I was
freshman.
14.
14 years old, and now she runs our life.
Yeah.
How many years is that? Math?
Oh
27
my
now?
word, fast
27
math, fast
now.
math.
Yeah, 27.
13 years.
13 years. So yeah, because we came the month
I did the
after we
math
got
for you.
married. We
It's
came, we came before we even moved here. That was when we met her because it was a month after marriage, and now and we don't have time to go into your entire story, but just to give people context, we go way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Way back.
I was a brat.
I don't think
No,
you
you
were.
weren't
you
that
weren't.
bad.
I don't think you were ever a
was a
brat.
brat
You were
in my
shut
heart.
down. Okay, now that
Yeah.
I understand.
And online.
Online. But then you came on staff, did a bunch of different jobs, and then Dustin's old assistant. Again, I just hate using that word because it's so much. That job is so
It's so much more,
ridiculously
yeah.
more than that. But she had a baby, so she was going to take some time at home. And I said,
This was your recommendation. Yes, it was.
"What about Binky Boo?
Yep.
She's so smart. She can get stuff done. She's so faithful. She's so
Yep.
loyal." And you went for it.
I listened to you.
And have I ever given you better advice?
That was probably the best advice you ever gave me. I will say that.
I love
He
that
did
I
seem
can
a
take
little
credit
unsure
for
when he
this.
asked.
What?
I said you did seem a little unsure when you asked me.
When I asked you to be my assistant? Oh, no.
So it was like you asked me, and then 2 weeks later, you're just we're not sure. And I was like,
This isn't decided.
He was
okay.
he was giving himself an out.
Now I know now I know how it goes, and so I pinpoint it back. And I'm like,
Wow.
I know what you did.
But now not only are you family, but you are I told her the other day, I was like, I wish the best for everybody in love and marriage and babies except for you, Binky.
Oh my goodness.
She can never leave me.
I will never. You'll always be first.
Me or D.
Well, Jen.
Oh, annoying. I keep
Number
trying
one.
to. I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with Binky to sometimes because, well, I feel like you two do a little conspiring.
Well, yeah.
We do what's best for our family.
And then we do what's best for him.
It's like I said, relationship dynamics. There is a lot
We're
here.
all helping each
We're
other.
all helping each other. There'll be multiple times where Binky and I will be talking. There's only two people I talk ever negatively about Dustin to, and it's his mom and Binky.
And I can feel it every time I walk in the room.
I know. That's what I was going to say. If he walks into a room and I'm saying something to Binky, oh my goodness, he tracked me. And oh my goodness, sorry, I'm late. I'm sick again. Whatever it is. He'll walk into the room and I'll be talking to Binky and he's like, I know you guys are talking about me. But I also know you guys do it.
Youth when we text during service.
Total. Oh my goodness. Do you remember that?
Started a long time ago.
It did. I didn't even remember
banned,
that.
Yeah.
He used to call us. Dee used to call us out from the stage because Binky would have her BlackBerry. Remember that? And it would make noise.
And it would click when you were texting. And I'd be preaching and it'd be like click, 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 click.
And then I would laugh. And then Binky would laugh, and then I would laugh.
It's like obvious you're texting each other.
Like on the second row.
I test you once in a while in staff meetings just to see if you're still on my team, and you never text me back. I know, and you never do. No.
Not in staff meeting, executive I will.
Okay. Oh, you will in executive still. Okay. Well, either way,
That's me on my phone.
We've got a really good thing going here, and we wanted to bring the listeners because Dee talks about Bianca a lot from the stage.
Yeah.
He'll just mention like, "Oh, Bianca, or can you grab like whatever it is?" And you were at a restaurant a while ago and somebody was like, "Oh, wait, you're Bianca? Like you're the Bianca? The Bianca?
So
the Bianca.
Do you remember that?" And so yeah, the Bianca.
She has a lot of nicknames.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it could have been the Binkser. And so
memory's also not great.
And so I was thinking like it'd be fun for people just really quickly to meet Binky.
Yes.
And know what she does and who she is. And also I would love to know what you find the most frustrating thing about Dustin.
This podcast should be called like Setups with Jamie.
Setups with Jamie K. Bates.
Gotcha journalism.
Roast.
But I know you love your job.
I do love my job.
And you own it. There's nobody that could do better than you at it. But there's frustrating things at times, right? I mean, have you guys ever gotten in a fight?
Well, I mean, about who's right.
Yeah. Just a couple times. I was telling Jamie the other day that I literally never get offended at you except over the stupidest things. Like literally, like you can give me the hardest words or like just call me out and I'm like, go to him. I'm like, yeah. But then it's like you tell me
But then
like,
if he insults Captain America, it's like over.
Or like over One Direction. I used to get so mad.
One Direction, that was a real idol.
They
for
don't.
you.
LeBron.
Really? Wow. Okay. So this is probably
really.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, because he is like a high level leader.
Yeah.
Literally, you do a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do his like you manage his texts. You manage his everything. Like it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Would you
fun,
say?
Though. Oh yeah.
You like it though?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. He's a really good boss.
Oh, what's your favorite? What's your favorite part of your job?
Aside from June Jones.
Wow.
That's really fun. I'm not gonna do that one as much.
They're not
anymore.
a part of your job.
Well, what is my favorite part of my job? I don't know.
All the messages you get to relay for him.
No. I think just working together is really fun. I listened in a little bit to your previous discussion about like some people just know their number twos. And like I love being a helper and I love like
making dreams a reality.
Yeah, I don't want to be in charge.
No.
I don't want to be the one that has the ideas and has to like be like, this is what we're gonna do. That's not my gift and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like being able to be like, I love like bandwagoning. And so like when he's like, we're going to do this. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Be like, I know exactly how I'm going to do that spreadsheet. Like I love getting to make it happen. So I think that's just like seeing it come to pass is really fun.
And knowing that you are really the one behind it all.
We just make a good team. It's
you
fun.
do.
Yeah,
We really do
have a
make
lot
a
of
good
fun
team
together. So I think all the craziness, like it's just fun to work together. So.
Yeah.
We've been talking about increasing some responsibility for Bianca. She already does so
poor
much.
Thing.
And poor thing. And just like taking more leadership over some areas because she knows more than anyone what I would want or what I would say.
She is in your brain.
Yeah, like I can trust that if she's going to communicate something, she's going to communicate something. It's going to be like the way that I've seen it happening, or how I want it to happen. And her one request was,
let me guess,
what?
Printer.
No, she does want out of the printer. Her one request was she didn't want to stop
being yours,
like being our assistant, helping our family.
Yeah.
So she didn't want all of the. So like most people
she wants no power.
Would see the things that we're trying to give as promotion items, but she doesn't want that.
Yeah.
She wants to still, which I think is just really special.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how long has it been now?
It'll be 3 years.
3
November.
years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Been a lot.
What's the hardest part, do you think,
Oh man.
of working?
Not going like super deep. I would say like I think just the emotional side, like in ministry. It's not specific to a job, but I think just ministry because you love people hard, and so you see, and like with the staff and with people in the church and seeing people get hurt or people hurting you, and it's really vulnerable. Yeah, and vulnerability is not my natural tendency. Yeah, and so
it's hard.
I think it's been hard in that sense, but it's good. Makes my heart soft.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good that it makes your heart soft. It would do different for other people.
He doesn't let us have bad hearts. He's always like, Bianca, your heart. I'm like, I know.
Oh, I know.
Really
I know. He's very good at that.
It's really good. Be a really bitter basement blogger if it wasn't for those conversations.
You've been with us outside of the church walls of town. We've done like trips together, and you went to Disneyland with us one year.
So fun.
We need to do that again.
We do need to do that again.
I got tickets.
Have you ever seen him and I go at it, like fight or anything?
Just in the car.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
The car, yes. Driving.
Usually
airport
trips.
runs.
Well, I was thinking, those. I was thinking this. The first time I really saw it was when we were in, I want to say it was Florida, my second year of internship, I think. And I was sitting there, and there was had to do only drive. It was like only driving, like the directions or something. And you were like, babe, I got it. You're like, and then you were like looking at your maps and then not looking at the road. And Jamie's like, babe, you're like, I see it. I see it. And we're all, there was like, it's like a 15-passenger van. So there was like dead silent in the whole van.
Crickets.
We're all just like, do we just let them? I'll offer to do the maps.
And that's where it began.
You
wanted to help.
Just wanted to help.
Oh man. What's your favorite thing about Binky and working with Binky?
I think a lot of things.
Yeah, there's like literally 100.
So many.
Yeah.
She's fiercely loyal.
Yeah.
And I love that. But I think my favorite thing is because the volume of things that I deal with and so many things that bounce from thing to thing is if I breathe something, she has it recorded.
It happens.
Nothing ever.
Yeah, her thumbs are always going on that
phone. Literally never drops the ball.
A thing.
I mean,
yep.
Who can you say that about?
Aww.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I love her loyalty. I love how deeply she feels, not just to do her job, but deeply feels for our family.
Yeah.
And really how much she loves Jude and Jen. Like it's really real. And she's not doing a job. Like her and Jude talk like friends.
We were
literally, I'm like, I wish you would talk to me like that.
Call Binky and let her know, have her tell me how to get through this shrine on Zelda. Or call Binky and tell her that I beat the Ganon or whatever.
I can't wait till he can text. It's so fun.
Oh man.
Oh no, that's gonna be trouble.
He told us at the end of first grade.
He can.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to text because he's gonna be able to read.
Good motivation.
Well, I love too about Binky that like I know you're in good hands at all times because you probably spend more time together than you, like the two of you spend more time together than you and I sometimes during a week, work week.
Yeah.
And I just always know I can text her and be like, "What's the mood? What's the vibe? What's coming home? What's happening? Is it good? Are we doing good? Are we doing bad?" It's always good reports. Yeah, because you've grown a ton in those ways.
Much.
Yep. But she's just such a safe place for us and our family. And I just wanted to highlight her on here. And
one of the craziest stories that we have together is you were gone out of town.
Oh no. Oh, I was in Thailand.
And we had a sickness hit the house.
Oh my word.
That was the most
So
vicious.
bad.
I don't know what that was.
The plague.
It was like a plague.
It was like
and literally Taylor was throwing up, right?
Jude started.
Jude started throwing up.
Strawberries, right?
And it's strawberries all over the stairs, the house. I mean, it was mayhem. And Bianca came over to help, right?
Because Taylor and you
we were all
started
sick, and Taylor was
sick.
incapacitated. I started getting sick.
Yeah.
Like, how did it happen?
When I found you.
Yes.
When I found
You started getting really sick. I think it was like the second or third day. And I remember you coming out and literally I've never, people say like white as a ghost or white as a sheet or whatever. that was that. And you're very tan. So I was like,
Thank you.
I was so shook. And I was like, okay, you like go lay down. You and Taylor go lay down, and I'll like go
Taylor's
take care
my
of the
sister
kids.
who lives with us.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll take care of the kids. I'll feed them dinner, whatever. So you guys, and you had both had fevers, and you went to go both lay down, and you were both like bundled up, like. And I was like,
And
oh
they
my
were like
gosh,
covered
they
in
cannot.
throw up, right, from the boys, but they.
No,
Not
I
at
think
this
at that
time.
point, not
Not
at
this
that
time,
time.
okay.
There was lots of throw up.
Okay.
And I was like so worried about you guys, and I was getting the boys dinner, and I think Taylor had already gone to bed, and you kept trying to like stand up, and you would like, you go. I was like, are you okay? You're like, well, I'm only dizzy when I stand. And I was like, well, maybe go lay down.
Don't stand,
You
idiot.
went to go lay down. And I was getting the boys dinner, and I hear you go, Binks? And I was like, yeah, 1 second. And you're
Oh
like,
my word, I can't
Binks?
even.
And I was like, uh-oh. And so the boys were like, I had literally, this is so bad. I had left them on the counter because I didn't want them to follow me. So I was like, do not move. I was like, you guys just stay right here. And I go in, and the way your room's set up, I turn, and I only see half your body on the floor in your bathroom. And I was like,
I thank God you were
I
there,
said-
and it wasn't me.
and I've taken like, like safety courses or whatever for nannying. And so like there was reasons for me to think that you had maybe had a seizure.
Yeah, because he was foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Okay, you keep the
wasn't-
details out of it. I'm just
I
on the
wasn't going to help
overarching story.
And then so I was like, do I need to call 911? I think is the first thing I said. And you're
Yeah.
like, no. I'm okay.
I knew it. I knew he'd.
And then at some point probably said, don't tell Jamie.
100%. This is where I
And
get
so then I
annoyed
went to go
two
with
of
the
you.
boys off the counter and left them on the floor. And then I went back, and you had kind of set up, and that's
Yeah, I'd passed out puking, or
Yeah.
passed out, hit my head, and then I was puking. It was not good.
no.
And so Bianca has been there
Been
for some
through.
vulnerable moments.
Yeah.
And so after she got us through that, we knew she was here to
my
stay.
goodness.
I went outside and I
Here-
just cried.
here-
I was like, what is happening?
Oh, well, we love you so much.
Love you
And
guys.
you love us so much. One question, because you're one of the people who know Dee the very, very best in the whole entire world. What would you want people to know about him? Like in a backstage. Like something that wouldn't be obvious. Like, oh, he's a good speaker. We all know that.
Trying to get too emotional.
It's all right.
Safe
backstage.
place.
He would love it.
He would.
Okay.
I think the number one thing, especially your assistant, I've seen is like all the stuff that you say and do about like having a right heart, or like the things that you preach and the things that you teach us as a staff, like is honestly like surface level in comparison to what you live out. Like I think my most memorable moments have been, even as a student, I'm trying to think back how old I was, but like one winter encounter, I had gotten up super early, not as early as, probably the earliest, I don't wake up early. And so this was one of the only times I've gotten up early to go pray. And you had been praying, I think in the auditorium for hours before. And like, I don't think you slept at all. And you came out as I was getting in early, and I could tell that you had already been with like the Lord. And just like, or there's like all these random moments I have like that of like when you had your office where PK is now and where I was at the front desk back in the day. There was one time I had just gotten into work, and you'd been in there again praying, and I was like, you came out and you kind of looked a little like shook, and I was like, are you okay? And you were like, man, God's just dealing with me.
Wow.
And like I remember those things, and I think like emotional. It just means so much to know that that you are who you say you are all the time, and even more so like the standards you hold us to, like as a staff or as Christians or whatever, like is nothing in comparison to what you hold yourself to. Like you never like ask anything of me or anybody else that you don't first do yourself, and I think it just means a lot.
Wow. Thanks.
Yeah.
Man.
Love you.
We love
Love
you.
you. Wow.
Your girls love you.
Yeah. That means a
And
lot.
we all agree that you are an Enneagram. Wait for it, everybody. 3.
Wing 4.
3 wing 4. She has it in the wing.
Because I think I'm not crazy about the
Sigh.
Enneagram either.
Yeah.
Just confession.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to pick one, I'd be a 4 wing 3. And I think that's why we work.
You're 100%.
Oh.
That's exactly it. Because I
Okay.
used to think he was a help. Everybody thinks he's a challenger because of how he comes across.
No.
He is not a challenger. He's the achiever helper.
Yeah.
And we love you
Or
for it.
the
Thank you.
individualist is the 4.
Oh, that's the individualist.
Yeah, it doesn't
okay,
like
okay. Yeah. Conforming.
Well, thank you guys for that. Bianca, we love you too.
Yeah.
Love you
You have made our
guys.
life so much better and love the people of our church so well.
Thank you.
Make things possible, make things happen. So many things would not be running in the church if it wasn't for you. And probably the church doesn't even know how many things that you're behind, but it's incredible.
That's why I wanted to
There would be
hire-
no
I know,
us
who
without
would-
you.
Who would have thought, right? Oh, God is good. Glory to glory. Let there be no other glory except Bianca in our lives, though. In Jesus' name.
Stick around.
Okay, well, thanks, guys,
Love
for joining
you.
me.
So fun.
Thank
and
you.
hopefully everybody enjoys this little backstage glimpse into Pastor Dustin Bates and the amazing Binky Boo Binks Bianca Lily Barja.